It's a sure thing. Change, change. Expect a miracle change. Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 do.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are. Welcome to Spirit Cafe. I'm one of your co-hosts today, Marg Dupuis, and we have
I'm Barbara Jean.
and Cheryl Rogers. I think you're on mute, my dear. And in the background, we have Deja. You don't see her lovely face, but she is with us and producing the show. And today we will have Karen Drucker with us. And Cheryl, I believe you're going to be doing our land acknowledgement. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. And so Marg, Barbara, and myself are coming to you from Canada, and we like to acknowledge the land that we're on before we begin the show. So I will just ask you just to take a moment and honor the land wherever you are as you hear our land acknowledgement. We are honored to be meeting on this land that many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis call home from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge and thank the original caretakers and knowledge keepers of this territory, the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat. We also give thanks to all other Indigenous peoples, recorded and unrecorded, who have shared responsibility for this territory, recognizing our ultimate oneness and acknowledging our ultimate togetherness and acknowledging our reality, past and present. We commit to moving forward in the spirit of mutual cooperation. We are one. And I'm going to hand it over to Barbara to introduce our wonderful guest today, who, as actually the show started, I realized we use her song for our opening. And I was just like, oh my God, we've got to mention that. Change, change, change. That's Karen Drucker's song. Barbara.
Well, so happy to have Karen Drucker on the show today. Remarkable, remarkable woman. She's been a singing mermaid, a singing casket. I'll have to ask about that. And was literally elevator music when she was hired to sing and play piano in a moving elevator. I like that. She was the music director for 3 different New Thought churches and was honored with an honorary doctorate of music for her work within the Centers for Spiritual Living community and a Grace Note Award for her work within the Unity Movement. She has recorded 20 CDs of her original inspirational music, and her book, Let Go of the Shore, has been a bestseller. Karen sings, speaks, leads workshops at women's retreats, mind, body, and health conferences, and various churches around the country, outside of the US as well. She loves making music, making a difference, and touching hearts. Please welcome Karen Drucker. Oh my gosh, we are so happy to have you here today.
Yay, there I am. Hi, everybody.
You are.
Oh, we did it. We did it. Technology, you know. We did it. Every time we do these things, it's like, is this all going to work? But it does. So here we are.
Yes.
Nice to be with all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, I loved hearing that song. That's great. That's a song I wrote with Claudia Carawan. It's like, change the way you look at things. when I just love that concept. That we got that from Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Change.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
that's
so
what we're going to be
perfect
talking
for
about today, is changing this world. So
changing this world.
yeah,
It's a crazy place.
a little bit right now.
There's a lot
I just
going
want to talk about a song of yours, Karen, before we go about changing the world, because I'm thinking about changing a mindset with one of your songs for me. Let Go of the Shore. That
Yes.
is speaks to me loudly. When my daughter moved to the Yukon and took with her her children, of course, I was so upset and sad that my grandchildren would be so far away. And I was pretty sad for quite a while. And one day at Unity, your song, Let Go of the Shore, was played during a meditation. And I'm probably going to get teary now, but I closed my eyes and I could see my grandchildren, two grandsons, in a boat. And they were waving. I was on the shore and they were waving goodbye to me. But then they turned and faced forward. And it was that vision that I was able to let go and see them, in their new adventure. So
Oh
I wanted to
my.
say that to you today. Thank you. It was a profound experience for me.
Wow.
You're making me
That's
teary.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I always love it when I hear how songs have affected people. That's beautiful. And that's, the thing that actually it all ties together, because with what we're talking about with changing the world, it really comes down to when you change the way you look at things personally, things are going to shift. And, that's what a lot of my songs are about. My songs, and specifically my chanting songs, are really about affirming what it is that you want to see in your life. I mean, I always say whenever I do a concert, you get to see what all my issues are, because it's what I write about, whatever is going on for me, whether it's, money or, self-esteem or changing the way I'm looking at things. If I write a song about it, if I do an affirmation and I put it to music, that's when the shift happens. So, like Let Go of the Shore. I mean, one of the lines in that song is let go of the shore and let the water carry me. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. I mean, who wants to float
Love
into the mystery? But that's what it is a lot of times, is we don't know what's happening. But if we keep hanging on, like, I know what this is, even if it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, but I know this, but it's like when you let go and you float and you allow yourself to just say, I mean, the verses are saying, I've got all that I need. It's all inside of me.
Yeah.
I just have to trust in faith and just let myself float to wherever I'm supposed to go. And
Beautiful.
it's kind of what's always worked for me. I mean, it still is hard floating into the mystery. I'm sure seeing them leave was really difficult, but when you can allow yourself to just know that when you let go, something else is happening. Something else. It's the mystery of life.
Yeah.
That's true.
But thank you for using my song. And I believe that video was made by my friend Paul Ski, who does all these beautiful videos of my songs. It's great. He's a brand new minister, and he came to me and said, this is my meditation, is making videos of your songs. And I'm like, hey, go for it.
Wow.
So on my YouTube site, I have 22, I think I have like 22 videos that he's made of my songs. So
Wow.
it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what he did with you guys is really cool. I like that.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So we were going to talk about the crazy upside down world today and how
fun.
we deal with it. How do we get in our self-care, or how do we move through or navigate this world that we're living in today that feels really like it is kind of upside down? Like the stuff that's going on, some of it is very, very odd.
Yeah, it feels like, when I think about the state of the world today and the politics and, the wars that are going on and just everything that is taking place, the housing market, food, all these things, it just seems like the world really is upside down. It's like it makes no sense. It's nonsense, and it boggles the mind. If somebody had said to me 20 years ago, this was all going to happen, I would have said, you're crazy. I mean, we're not that stupid, but we are.
I think Margaret Atwood saw it all coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. Oh, are you talking about, oh my good, hang on. What's it called? Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's
Handmaid's
Tale.
Tale. You're right. And boy, oh boy, is that scary. I don't know if you've seen that, Karen. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Oh
that book?
my goodness.
Margaret Atwood is a Canadian author, very well-respected Canadian author. And she wrote a book many years ago called The Handmaid's Tale, which they've made into a television series. And frankly, horrific. The treatment of women it's going way back to where women are chattel. And
Yeah.
it's frightening. And when I hear some of the stuff going on politically in the US, it feels a little bit like Gilead.
Oh
And
my God. I mean, the stuff that's going on with abortion in this country is I mean, that's the main thing that can make me just get crazy. The stories of married
Yeah.
women.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor says this baby is not coming to term. You could die, if we don't do something.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories, I mean, I have children right now even saying this, the stories I have heard of these women, trying to get medical care, and the doctor's literally saying, we can't do anything until you are like right at the point of death. Then we're allowed to intervene. Tell me what logic is in that. And so if there's any subject, I mean, there's politics, there's all these different things, but this is the one subject that makes me crazy, is to see what is happening, that we are literally just going back in time to these things that we fought so hard to get, these rights. I mean, how men are controlling, women's bodies
Yeah.
and making these, and then the baby's born. It's like we don't have things really well done in place to be caring for that child. It's the woman's problem now. And, she's trying to work 5 jobs to just pay for this. I mean, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
so here's what I want to say about this before we just go off on these tangents of how terrible the world is. This is where I think our spiritual practice comes into place. It's like, how do we, what can we do about it?
Yes.
Because you could just go crazy. I mean, we could all sit here and just keep telling stories and just go down this tube, this tunnel of how awful everything is. But to me, that's where I feel like our spiritual practice really comes into play. It's kind of like, what is the expression, pedal to the metal or whatever, of just like all the things we've talked about, and prayer and faith and this. It's like, when does it really kick in? And this is the time, to be able to see, what is it that I can do to make it be that I don't go off the deep end. I tell this story, and I just think it's I love visuals. And there was this movie years ago called Siddhartha. Did you ever see this movie with Keanu Reeves as the Buddha? A little bit of a stretch there on that one. I don't know. But there's this great scene, and I use this, as a visual, because I work a lot with visuals in my life. And right before the Buddha, he's sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, and he's in deep meditation. He's been meditating for, I don't even know, 3 months or 6 months or whatever it was, to find enlightenment. But what's so interesting about this little visual, and you can see this in the movie, he's sitting there in deep meditation. And all of a sudden you see the visual of it, that in his mind, all of a sudden you're seeing all these, it's like this cowboys and Indians scene, where all of a sudden these Native American, people are coming over the mountain, and they're on their horses, and they've got their bows and arrows, and the arrows have fire, and the wind is blowing, and Keanu Reeves' hair is going. It's like all this chaos is happening, and here are all these, these horses galloping, and the Indians have got their bows and arrows with the fire. and they let go. And as they get close to him, you see all the arrows coming towards him. All of a sudden, they hit this force field of his enlightenment, and all of the bows and arrows turn into rose petals and just go pss, like down. And in that moment, the wind stops and he opens his eyes and he's enlightened. And I say that story because to me, that's what it feels like we're in. Like every day, we're getting just hit with all this stuff. But how do you have a force field around you that you can hear this information, but not let it penetrate your soul, that you can have some sort of a pink bubble around you, that you hear this, but you're able to somehow stay in your center, know God, know the truth, have faith, all those things that we practice, that we study, that we sing about, that we, talk about in our sermon. How do we do that? And to me, that's that visual to me is so perfect, because it's like when that negativity hits, it'll just turn into rose petals and it's not going to affect my being. I know the truth of who I am. I know the truth of this world.
Wow.
Kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, well, it's such a key point, right? That idea of surrendering into our authentic self rather than living from this reactionary place of trying to do what's outside of us, which of course we have no control over, and trying to change other people or to, decide how somebody else is going to live. But I think one of the things for me is how do I every day show up? And I think the most important thing we can do is, as we maintain our center, is make sure that we're supporting others to do the same thing. Because if we could empower the masses, there are more women in this world than there are men. So why we are a minority is a darn good question. And I think that's really about us standing in that real authentic power and not playing small anymore, or not fighting each other. I think there's some of, that where we're pitted against each other sometimes, and that doesn't serve anything. I think we have to find ways to build each other up to be that strength of the base, right?
Yeah, I think, I think we need to recognize that it is a crazy world. And I love how you put it, Karen. I really love that. And I love that visual. I'm going to look up that movie because it's really beautiful. And I watched something the other day with Greg Braden, who's also one of my favorite authors and people. And he was saying that it's not going to be an easy year. It's going to be, just like the past few years. And it's really more about how do we respond to what's going on outside of us, inside of us, which is exactly what you were saying, Karen, in my mind, right? It's how we be. And you too, Barbara. It's recognizing that I have the power to be proactive and work on myself and centering myself and being present, than being reactive and giving that power away.
Well, and it's a choice. I feel like that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest spiritual practice I think we all can really take away from this, is that every moment we have a choice. I have so many songs I've written about. Today I choose, what am I going to choose today? And it's that choice that we can either listen to those voices or keep going, no, come back to center, come back to center.
Exactly.
And, so much of it, I think, is about taking care of ourselves, being gentle with ourselves. It's interesting. People don't really buy CDs anymore. They stream, music now. And I think it's really says something to me that on my Spotify channel, which, a few years ago, I didn't even know what Spotify was, but now on my Spotify channel, I looked recently, and my most popular song that's been streamed, which we actually just hit 3 million, which is kind of amazing to me.
Awesome.
3 million streams of what song? I Will Be Gentle with Myself.
Gentle with myself.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? Of all the songs I've written, that one is, way up ahead of everything else. 3 million. And that to me really,
Love
look,
that
she is
song.
just on it. Look at this, putting all these things up. Yes.
I tell you, this is
What am I up to?
this
Gentle
year
with
the
myself is
best.
3,959. Oh my, went up from a few days ago. But I just think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really, it says something to me about what's going on in our lives right now, that it's like people are just saying, no, I have to just be gentle. I have to be, because the words to that song, I will be gentle with myself. I'll be tender with my heart. I will be easy on myself, and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I think when we are so upset and we get so triggered by everything and get in this bad mood, which is so easy to do, how then doesn't it make sense that you're going to go off into the world? And even if you just go to Starbucks and get your coffee, when the person gives you your little latte, you're like, yeah, thanks so much, but you don't even take the time to be just, hey, how are you? Thanks so much. I see you. And I think that's, a lot of the talks that I'm doing these days for churches, is about kindness. Kindness to ourselves, starting with being gentle with ourselves, because when we can be kind to ourselves and give ourselves a break, then we can be kind to each other, but we have to fill our well up first.
Absolutely.
So when you were talking about the rose petals, it made me think of rose-colored glasses. So there would be those that would say, okay, Karen, are you just putting on rose-colored glasses and everything is all good? And I don't think that's what you're saying, but do you
No.
want to speak more to how being centered in yourself, being kind to the barista, how is that going to help the person that can't receive an abortion that may save her life? How is that going to be helpful?
Great question. And first of all, one of my pet peeves in our, whether it's Unity or Religious Science, Centers for Spiritual Living, one of my biggest pet peeves that I talk about all the time is when people do a spiritual bypass, meaning they just, something horrible is happening, or a friend says, oh, I'm going through this hard time, and they react by saying, oh, it's all good. It's just all good. I just want to slap them when people say that. It makes me crazy, because it's true in our, in our philosophies, we're looking at the positive, we're looking at, things, all this kind of positive stuff. But, there's also the reality of what's going on. And I truly believe that we have to allow ourselves to feel. I mean, I have so many songs about this too. Feel everything. Feel it so that you can move through it. Feel it so you can heal it is the idea. And you have to, because if you don't allow yourself to feel the anger, the frustration, the resentment, the envy, the whatever it is, it's like, it's almost like a figure eight, and you stop it halfway through so that it can't do its full circle. So it's also that concept of when things are bad, and you're going, oh my God, it's always going to stay like this. No, it's not. The tide is in, the tide is out. When you're really happy, you go, oh my God, I got to hang on to this happiness. Well, life happens. But when you can roll with it, when you can, move with whatever is happening and just acknowledge it, that's the first part. And so, no, I don't think it's a thing of just putting a happy face over everything and smiling, because it's true. Right now, we are just in hard times, but to be able to just acknowledge it, and I'm not even saying look for the good in it, because you might not be able to see the good in it for a year from now or 5 years from now. Who knows? With all the political stuff that's going on, maybe this is going to be like someone said, the idea that we've moved the rock so that all the cockroaches have been able to come out. And eventually,
That's good.
those cockroaches were always there. They were underneath the rocks, but we've moved them. So now at least we can go, oh, this is a real cockroach. What are we going to do about it? And so I think it's really allowing the truth to come out and dealing with it. And somehow looking at the smallest part of like, okay, how can I in this moment bring some kindness to the world? I might not be able to handle the war in Ukraine, but I can be nice to this barista at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, what's that comment about, what is that idea about, you know, when one butterfly wing, you
Yeah.
know, flaps, it felt around the world. Maybe that's what I'm talking about. That just that one little bit of kindness will be that he'll be kind to the next person and they'll be kind to the next person. And, you know, who knows?
And I think it's also about our thoughts, right? And shifting the energy of our thinking, because I think that also is what co-creates our realities, the things that we think, say, and do. But as we're going to go into a break shortly, Karen, and I would love you to sing a song of your choice before we do.
Well, you know, I might sing with a track later, but you know what's being called to sing right now in this moment is this little prayer. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. I'll go to the second verse. Let me see. There may be walls and there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose, is what we're talking about. I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. And I'm forgiving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
I love that. I love that. Well,
Thank
we're going to
you.
little break on that note. Thank you, Karen. And you're watching the New Thought Media Network. This is Spirit Cafe Show, and we will be right back. Don't go away.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
And we're back.
Mm.
That was a great segue into that idea of surrender, I think, is one of the powerful ways we can be with the current level of insanity in our world and try to find within ourselves sort of the next thing that we need to do in order to make a shift for ourselves. I think that's an important part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we all know that expression, whatever you resist persists. So it's like if you're resisting so hard what's going on in the world, you're going to just have knots in your stomach all the time. So it's like, what can you do? I surrender. And that's why I love that line. I surrender to my greatest, highest good, whatever that means. You know, what is my greatest, highest good? What is your highest, greatest good? And I actually just wrote a song with my friend Claudia Carawan, who called I Can So See It For You. You know, and it's just the chorus is, I can so see it for you. I can so see it for you. You can let go because I know that I can so see it for you. And, you know, I think sometimes that's the best thing we can do for each other is see each other's highest good and keep affirming it. And when you're, you know, going down the tubes where you're going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life and nothing's working. You know what? I can see your greatest, highest good. I see it. You might not see it yet, but I'm going to hold the vision, you know, and that's one of the things I think with this broader paintbrush that we're doing of the world, you know, I have to keep, and again, it's not putting that Pollyanna thing on it of just going, oh, everything's great, but I have to keep having a vision of the highest good for our country, for some of these things that are going on. Because otherwise, if I have, again, it comes down to choice. If I have a choice of where I'm going to let my mind go, I would rather choose looking for the highest good of everything as opposed to going, oh my God, we're going to the toilet, you know?
Yeah,
That feels better.
absolutely. And again, you know, that's what we teach in these New Thought spiritual teachings is that our feelings are creative. I mean, they make a difference. You know, our thoughts make a difference. The words that come out of our mouths make a difference. And so I love what you're saying, and I hear where you're coming from. And I also think to think about it in that way. What energy am I putting out there with my feelings and my words and my thoughts? Because it has an energetic vibration that is part of creating the problem or the solution, right? It's we are doing that anyway, whether we're aware of it or not. We have that power, and so why not be aware of it and choose to use it positively?
Well, what is the thing we end our church services with? There's a power for good, for good in this world, and I am it. You know, it's like,
yeah. Exactly. And I think the reason that I'm saying this out loud is wanting people to recognize, you know, anybody who's listening now or who's going to listen in the future, just to realize the power of their thoughts, words, and actions, you know, and not to take that for granted, because if we don't understand that, we can literally just let that float by us and not recognize that. So it's not just about the impact that it has on us and how we can get into knots because of the way we think and look at the world, but it's the impact on those around us and further.
I'm thinking of a visual that perhaps Karen had at a young age. So I read that you were a babysitter for Carole King's children. And I think back then you had a vision of you playing a piano and you wanted to be a singer. And I think maybe that vision you held for yourself came into reality. Did you want to speak to that? Like it's
well,
just you're a prime example.
well, to me, you know, I really do feel like we manifest our lives based on what, you know, it's that concept of what you have to think it first before you bring it into manifestation. And I had no musical background at all. I mean, I love music, but my parents, I wasn't ever stuck in piano lessons or come from a musical family at all. And I mean, my story is that I was a competitive swimmer since I was 6 years old. So I was training for the Olympics. I was swimming 4 hours a day as a kid. I mean, that's all I did. But my life really took this huge, just going into this whole other direction I was living in Laurel Canyon in Hollywood, and I was the babysitter for all the kids on my street. And Carole King, right before she became, really well known. I mean, right as Tapestry came out is when she moved on my street. And I just marched down to her house, knocked on the door and said, "Hi there, I babysit for everybody. Can I babysit for your kids?" And so I did. And it was truly a turning point for me because she became kind of like a second mom. I actually used to straighten my hair and was just this real geek. And she took me to her hairstylist. She got my hair cut like hers. She gave me all her funky clothes and she taught me how to drive her car. I mean, I was just like, I just thought I was just little Miss Thing because I just all of a sudden looked hipper than I was. But she
Carole King, mini me.
yeah, I wasn't. I would walk down the street, if you could believe this. I would walk down the street and people would stop me for autographs because they thought I was her because I looked more like her than her children. But what was amazing is that she was remodeling her house and she needed to store her piano for what she thought was going to be just a month. And I guess she, behind my back, came to my mom and said, I think I've heard her say that she wants to, learn how to play piano or something. And so I came home and her piano, her upright piano was in my bedroom. And that's how I started writing songs because I wanted to be a little mini her, so I was writing all these little teenage angst songs and I couldn't sing my way out of a paper bag. I was just terrible. And I mentioned that to her and she said, "Well, don't worry about it because if you write your own songs," she said, look at me, look at Bob Dylan. It doesn't matter how well you sing if you're writing your own songs." And that was the turning point in my life. But I have to admit, with the subject that we're talking about, at a very early age, I realized that by writing songs, I could make a difference. I could make a change, even if it was like, I remember I wrote a song for my best friend who was a grade ahead of me and she was going off to college. And, at our little graduation party, I wrote this song just for her talking about how she was leaving, and to see her reaction, of that I had written a song just for her. And it just became like this, like, oh, wow, I have the power here to do something. And that's when the turning point happened with my writing, through the years. I mean, I've been writing songs for, ever since I was 16 now. When I started to write songs for my mom when she was going through cancer treatments, and I started to write all of these healing songs for her. And she had a mantra that she said every day, "I'm healed, whole, and healthy." And so I wrote a little chant of, "I am healed, whole, and healthy. I relax and visualize. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well." And she listened to that. I recorded that. She listened to that every day that she went in for her chemo treatments. And from that, I just started writing all these songs, for people going through anything like that. And that has really become really my trademark, I think, of writing songs for specific things that you're going through. And on my Spotify channel, I'm actually working on right now, given the subject matter we're talking about, I'm having to learn how to do this and I'm still learning, but how to make like a Spotify list of like songs for for calming yourself down in these turbulent times, so to do a compilation of all the different songs I've written that just are about breathing and stillness and choosing and all that kind of stuff, so that when people are going a little bit wacky, if they went to my Spotify channel or my YouTube channel, hear all the songs that you could listen to that hopefully can calm you down and not have you jump off a bridge somewhere. So
yeah,
it's important work, and music has a way of sort of reaching much deeper than just the spoken word. It has a way of sort of landing at a very core level where I don't know, I guess it's the vibration of it or something. It's bringing something extra. So
wow, look at that. She is on it. Look at this. She puts my YouTube channel up. Good. You're hired. That's great. No, that's
she's
but it's true. Like here, on my YouTube channel, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I have 24,000 subscribers. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Maybe I should look at my channel every once in a while. But yeah.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who really this resonates with to go to your channel and to listen to the different songs. And I think, you know, what you're saying, Barbara, for me is, you know, you're saying touching the core, you know, the vibration. And I feel like it touches my soul, right? It
Well,
really
because all
does.
the other stuff just goes into your head, you know. It's like
Yeah.
you can go around your head, and that's what, you know, I feel like my music, what I'm really trying to do. I mean, my intention is to be able to bypass your brain so that you can go into your heart, and that's what a chant is. I mean, a song is like it has more of a message and, you know, verses and stuff, but a chant, you know, just being able to say, I am healed, whole, and healthy, you know, it's just saying that over and over, it can make it that you get it immediately, and you close your eyes, sing along with me, and I truly believe it creates oxytocin. You have that feel good
Yeah,
drug going through your, you know, body, but it's
absolutely.
it's when you're singing and you're breathing and you're affirming what it is that you want to say, you
Yeah.
know, to yourself, because your mind, you know, again, given the topic we're talking about today, your mind can spin out with all the negativity and, you know, and going, oh my God, what's going to happen? But if you can keep somehow coming back to a spiritual practice, whether that's meditation or reading a book or listening to a talk, or in my case, listening to a song that's
Mhm.
going to just keep affirming all. I mean, one of my songs right now, all is well, you know,
As well, yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
all is well, you know, all is well, I can rest, I am safe, all is well. And then I also on my last album did from Julian of Norwich, her expression, all shall be well. All shall be well, all manner of things shall be well.
Mhm.
All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. Now, if I listen to that and I keep saying that over and over, you know, the thoughts are still there.
Yeah.
The gremlins
I
are still
think
there, but
I
I
think
can,
singing it though, I think singing it makes a difference.
I
Sorry
think
to
so.
interrupt you, but when I hear it and the singing part, we can say affirmations over and over, but when you sing it, there's something more there that just resonates, you
Yeah,
know?
it goes into your being, it goes into your
Yeah.
cells. I mean, do you know when the pandemic started, I came up with this idea of because I just believe we all needed to sing more together because we weren't
Mhm.
singing in churches anymore, where, you know, everyone's by themselves. And so I came up with this idea of doing it. It was called Second Sunday Sacred Sing at 6. Say that 5 times fast. Sacred Sunday second. Anyway, it doesn't always wind up to be on the second Sunday, but for the last, I guess I'm going on 3 years of doing this.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, it's usually the second or the third Sunday of every month, I do a free sing along on Zoom. It's
Mhm.
at 6 o'clock Pacific, but this is all on my website.
Mhm.
And I get 100 people sometimes. And I think we've gotten up to like 80 or 90 people sometimes, you
Oh,
know,
wow.
and they're all muted. I mean, no one, I can't hear what they're doing, but I'm just sitting there playing, and you see people in their little boxes and they're they're
That's
singing
so
along.
cool.
But I always, you know, I'll look at the chat and people will say, I came in here in the worst mood and I feel totally different, you know,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
and you're looking around the Zoom room and you're seeing all these people singing, and it's like it gives us all permission to do it. And it just,
Mhm.
you know, I continue doing it because I
Mhm.
just think we all need it.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, it's a gift. And talking about the chat, Anne from Illinois, from Abounding in Song, she posted, Karen's healing songs have gone into the operating room with me.
Ah,
Grateful.
yes, and that's my dear friend Anne, and Anne, you know, is a great example of this. She is a person who all she does is listen to positive message music, mine and everybody else's. And
Mhm.
you know, in a lot of her health challenges, she's just really used that music. And I just think that when you get in a habit of listening to positive message music, you know, because it's not just me, there's
Mm.
a lot of us out there doing it. And some of my peers are just, you know, phenomenal musicians. Um, you know, I just think it just makes a difference in your day. If you're, because the thing is, we all have these earworms that if that's what like country music is, if you hear a song, you just are like, you get it in your head. But that's what positive message music is that it gets in your head and
Mhm.
it'll just be this thing that's in the background all day long.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I'm healed, whole, and healthy is still running through me.
And what a great thing to be affirming,
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh, goodness.
So I don't know that this is going to happen or not. We're just in the planning stages, but I just came back from a cruise ship. Oh my God, I love cruising. And I did a cruise ship down to, there's this company called Spirit at Sea, Spiritual Tours. And they did this cruise with me. And there were 5 other Unity ministers and CSL ministers. And we cruised to Mexico. And it was just, during the day, we'd have these, we'd sing and anyway. But I'm looking at doing a musical Spirit at Sea next to Alaska
Oh,
next summer. So
Oh,
I'll let y'all know
nice.
about that. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're just talking about that right now. But just making it like, every day you're looking at, this beautiful scenery, but in the morning we're having we're having music and yeah, my retreats. Well, thank you for putting that up. Yeah, I do. I have a bunch of retreats coming up this year. Let me see. I don't know, nothing up in Canada at this point, unless someone invites me. But yeah, I'm going to Unity Village, and I've got a few. There's a wonderful retreat center called Asilomar that I love.
mhm.
That's my
Best.
happy place. So that's going to be in April. So yeah, and there's my second.
April?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
let me see. Sacred Sing at 6 is going to be February 11th. That's my next one. That's the online one, and then
And
yeah,
yeah, it's going to be where?
well, the Sacred Sing is just online. It's a Zoom thing. So you just go to my website and you can just see, you get the link there. And then, yeah, in April is my Asilomar Women's Retreat. And
Where's cinema?
Asilomar is in Pacific Grove, Monterey. It's
Okay.
Monterey.
Okay.
Yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Bring into your bliss in Monterey. Yeah, Pacific Grove. What is it? The April 18th through 21st. Oh, look at you highlighting everything. You are so on it, girl. Yeah, that's great.
Deja, our producer. She's
Yeah,
wonderful.
well, she's fabulous. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's going to be in April. So I'm just doing but it's interesting since the pandemic, I just really like intimacy. I love exactly what we're all doing here, that we just get together and we can just talk.
Mhm.
So all my retreats now, I've cut them in half. They're like 20 women,
Mhm.
20,
Yeah.
25 people. It's just like, that's what I love doing the most. So
Yeah.
because I think,
Yes.
I think that this is a real service y'all are providing here with this show, because I truly do believe that, going back to that concept of seeing your highest good, I really believe that right now, the biggest thing we all need is connection
Absolutely.
and dialogue. And, because what we're really talking about here is like, okay, we're in these crazy times. What do you do? And we've talked about, spiritual practices and whatever, but it really comes down to, I think, the bottom line is that we feel connected to
Yeah.
each other, and that, we might not be able to change what's going on, but at least we can dialogue, we can talk about it, we can rant and scream and cry and do whatever in
Yeah.
a safe space of a group that sees you and, sees who you are, sees your highest good. And, and ultimately it would be great to be able to have dialogues with people that are opposed to you, and then you could actually just have dialogues without people screaming at each other and thinking you're crazy, that
Right?
you could go, tell me why I would love to know why you think this way.
Yeah.
Enlighten me, please. Let me walk in your shoes for a minute and see
Mhm.
why you feel the way you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And, sorry, go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, I was just going to say there's a TED Talk by Daryl Davis who really did that. A Black man who goes to KKK rallies.
He
Wow.
became friends. Didn't he become friends with the leader of the KKK?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite an amazing story.
It's
Oh, I'd love
remarkable.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on YouTube. If you just type in Black man KKK, it'll come up
Yeah.
as the first thing. His name is Daryl Davis, jazz musician out of
Wow.
Chicago, I think. But
Wow.
yeah, he didn't understand racism.
Mhm.
As a young Black boy, he was like, what is this? And he was curious. So he was trying to find out about it. And in his 20s, he invited the head of the KKK chapter in his city or wherever he is, and said, could we have a chat? And so they sat down and had a conversation, which led to many, many more conversations, which led to a friendship
Oh, wow. Now,
and a
see, that's great.
shift in
Mhm.
consciousness. And
You
they
know,
did
'cause
it respectfully. Yeah.
well, and see, and that's why I think that what we're talking about today is so important, because it's not like any of this stuff is going to go away, unfortunately, at this point. So
Yeah.
how do we deal with it? You know, how do we do self-care? How do we, you know, what is it that we individually need to do to move through it? And I think that this is great. I mean, I'll definitely watch that video. I think that's so interesting.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
I think,
Karen, when you
oh, go ahead, Mark.
when we were talking earlier, you were speaking about living your life on purpose, having a purpose to your life was important to you, is my take on our discussion earlier. And and as I'm hearing throughout this show, from a young age, at the age of 16 to now, that purpose comes to the forefront, and you've navigated the circumstances throughout your life, bringing your purpose forward in an ever-changing world.
Mm,
And
that's a really good point.
your purpose seems to have stayed steady, may look a bit different,
Hmm.
but like I say, you've navigated it through your history.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. Yeah, I think that, you know, purpose to me is I just think purpose is really, really important. I think purpose is what gets us out of bed in the morning. Purpose is what drives us with, you know, so much. Whenever I do a talk kind of around some of these subject matters, I always bring, I have it right over there actually. I have a little piece of rope, and you know, I show like when the rope is it slack, you know, when you're like this and it's just doing this, you can be kind of like, oh, I know I should exercise today, but I don't really want to. Or, you know, you could just go into but as soon as you sign up for that, you know, class or that exercise class or whatever it is, all of a sudden, boom, the rope goes like this. And there's so much energy and intention in that straight line. And I'm so into this purpose concept that I know myself so well. Because again, this comes back to my swimming when I was a kid, that I always had a race that I was training for.
Mhm.
So I just thought at the beginning of this year, I want to have more fun and I want to do things that kick my butt, literally. And so what I did was I signed up for well, actually, I keep thinking it's a month away. It's like 2 weeks away or something, February 4th, I guess 2 or 3. Anyway, I don't run, I'm a swimmer, but I love walking. And I just signed up for a 5K walk. It's, you know, in San Francisco. It's through Golden Gate Park. It's going to be this beautiful thing. Now I'm just going to walk it, but it's a half marathon, a 10K, and a 5K. And I thought just to have that rope,
Mhm.
you know, I signed up for this thing. And I'll tell you something. This cruise thing that I was just on, every day. I mean, you eat like a pig on cruise ships. Well, every day I knew that I had to walk. So
Mhm.
I got out there and I was doing my 10,000 steps every day. And I was so proud of myself. And I was thinking, if I didn't have this goal of February 4th, I probably would have just gone, oh, you know, I'm on vacation. I don't have to do anything. But
Mhm.
the highlight of my trip was taking those walks around the ship and the winds hitting me. And I was just in heaven. But everything I do is about that, even to the point of having all these albums that I have done. It was all based on, I would make that appointment for the recording a year out. And
Wow.
the guy would always say to me, well, why don't you just call me a couple months before and book the session? It's like, no, I have to know it's in my book
Mhm.
to write the songs. And so I think it's, you know, with all of the stuff we're talking about, it's like when you have that purpose, like in my case, even more specifically, when I have the purpose that one of my songs is going to help someone going through cancer, and that inner critic in me that can be very loud and very destructive comes up and says, oh, Drucker, you suck. You can't sing. Your songs are terrible. And it will do all this stuff. My purpose will guide me to say, you know, thanks for sharing. I have a higher purpose. I've got to write, you know, I've got to record this song because this person might need it. So I
That's
think purpose can really get us out of our loops that we sometimes get into with, with our inner critics and all that stuff. And, and if my purpose is to be a person who is a loving presence on this planet, it will keep me moving through all this stuff we're talking about and whatever judgments I have about people and their political feelings and whatever. I will keep moving through it because my purpose is to be a loving being.
I think remembering love in the midst of whatever's going on is one of the most profound things. And of course, it has to start with us. And you were talking about doing the walk. Well, I decided that I only work, so I had to add some joy in. And I talked to you a while ago and said I've started playing piano again.
That's
And
right. How's that
yeah,
going?
it's going well. I keep forgetting to tell myself I'm a musician when I sit down.
That's right. That was my homework assignment.
That was your homework assignment. So I keep remembering it kind of after the fact. And I go, you are a musician. You are a musician. Go and sit down and play. But it's coming along. I actually can get the two hands going together, not tripping over each other. And it's happening.
And even more specific, say, I am a musician.
I
I
am a
am.
musician.
The most powerful words we can do. I am.
It's true. It's true for sure. Now we're down to our last 4 minutes, and we always like to end the show with what is the one most important thing you'd like people to take away today? Karen, what do you think that might be for you?
I would say that every day, every moment is a choice, and you can choose love or you could choose, hate. But I would say, let's all just keep choosing love and let's see what happens with the world if we do that.
Beautiful. I love it. Marg, what about you?
I'm going to bring purpose to the forefront. I can have the intention, but it's buried. So if I say the word purpose every day, I'm going to see what comes up for me.
Nice. I love it.
Thank you, Karen.
Cheryl.
I think I would like to leave saying, do yourself a favor and go and listen to Karen Drucker's songs. They are an absolute gift.
My new manager, ladies and gentlemen. Right here.
But it's so true, though. In these turbulent times, I can almost guarantee you that if you can't find something there that resonates with you, oh my goodness, come back again.
That's great.
Well, I have to say that, when you talked earlier about Gentle with Myself being played so many times, I think that's the most important takeaway today is let's be gentle with ourselves, which gives us then the strength, the ability, the focus to maybe be gentle and tender with others. And I think if we do that, we can create a world that's far more productive, a world that actually will move us in the direction we'd like to go, which is, more peaceful, kind, and joy-filled rather than crazy as it kind of is at the moment.
Well, we have 2 minutes. So how about Karen singing us out with that?
Oh,
Well,
there we go.
So if we have 2 minutes, I'm just going to sing an a cappella because if I do the track, it's 4.
Yeah.
But I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will love myself like a newborn baby child. And then we'll affirm it by simply saying, I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
Well, thank you
Karen,
so
thank
much.
you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you, Karen,
Thank you,
for
Karen.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne, for being out there in the world listening.
thank you, Anne, for being there and putting comments in. Really appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody. Know that you are loved, that you are a blessing, and that you bring your unique flavor to the world, and we need it. So thanks again. You're watching Spirit Cafe Show on the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to donate. All right. We'll be back again next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.